out of bamboo as well. I mean, we'll see where it goes, but there's some great minds on it. And also other organizations like there's a group called Knowledge for Change who work out of Fort Portal, but they're actually based in Salford in Manchester in the UK. Who are working with Koala, who are making this Koala arm, which I don't know if you guys, I mean, it's more in the arm area, so you guys might have come across them. But it's lowish cost prosthetic arm, and we're trying to learn from their model with trying to localize supply chains. I mean, there's you guys. I mean, e-NABLE could be a really integral part of this network, this growing network. The collaboration and like open source approach that you guys champion is something that we really want to work with and learn from and implement ourselves. Like if we set up these production facilities, we want them to be owned locally, not by us. We want everyone to be collaborating with new designs, things like that. So we're close to quite a major breakthrough, really. It's within reach. We've got a foot, we've got a socket, potentially a liner in development. We're a pylon away from a complete, affordable, really, really affordable, high quality below knee prosthetic. And the knee will come later. 2/3 of lower limb amputees are below knee anyway. But you know, this is potentially a revolution in prosthetic care. It's not just a possibility; it's within our grasp. By working together, not as isolated entities, you know, building this network and building collaboration, we're potentially a year away from anyone anywhere can produce a prosthetic leg. But this leads us to potentially exciting and pivotal next step. Working with you guys potentially. I mean, your expertise and like combined knowledge in 3D printing has potential to revolutionize prosthetic production below for lower limbs as well, especially in settings where resources are scarce. Together, I think we can create an innovative local solution that is going to expand access across the world. We're hoping to work with you maybe in quite like an open source collaboration to go beyond like traditional boundaries, but to pull resources, to pull you know our growing network with your worldwide network to just amplify our impact. We want to give you access to like our dashboard software if you've got interest of it. We can merge our efforts to empower more people really as part of this project, this DC3 foot project, for example. We're looking for assistance in printing these feet and shipping them to our collection hubs in Austin, in Newfoundland, in Bristol, in Normandy, in France. From these hubs, we can then distribute them anywhere in Africa where they're needed. But I was comparing our two main maps, and this is something that Florian, and I know you're obviously very aware of, it's something that Florian pointed out as well, that the network in Africa for your network is currently quite limited, but by working together with our distribution, this can fill the gap, extending your impact into a region which is obvious the need is immense. And you know, if we plan to set up a production facility or two in Western Africa, the guidance from you guys would be greatly appreciated. I mean, none of us have ever set up a 3D printing facility before, and if you can offer advice on, you know, sourcing 3D printers and filament production supply chains, and just overall technical support, that'd be invaluable. But yeah, e-NABLE is also a network of innovators and engineers and experts, way more than we have access to. And that's exactly what we need. We'd like to see if anyone in your network has the capacity to like research, to test, to produce prosthetic components, whether it's pylons or knees or adapters or foot casings or just any part of the leg. It could be the key to producing the next generation of prosthetics across the world, really. So that kind of leads me to the end. I've got my email address up there in case anyone watching this at a later date, or any of you guys wants to reach out specifically to see, you know, if any of this is inspiring. If someone wants to produce a 3D printed knee, that'd be fantastic. But mostly, yeah. And if you've just got any questions, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Matt. And well done landing the plane right at 30 after the hour. That was skillful. I'm so grateful for your time, and this is a potential partnership for all of the thousands of people in this community that I think would really scratch our biggest itch, which is access to recipients. We've got where organizations like Ugani have kind of a killer business model where you guys have direct access and on the ground know-how. We're lacking that, but we have a lot of people who would love to utilize the the infrastructure that you guys are building. So I've got a few questions, but I do want to I'll keep my mouth shut for a little bit and let other folks on the call have their say. Any questions for Matt?
I guess, Matt, I have a question. So my name's Morgan Rollins. I'm a bioengineer by training. A lot of modeling and 3D printing expertise. I would love to see if I could help in any way. If you could send over the requirements for that knee that you're talking about and see if I can, just have some fun with it and try to make some type of prototype. I have my printer right there. Send it to the printer.
Yeah, I mean, there's currently not much movement so far in the global community for like a low cost 3D printed knee. There's been a few models which have been tried and not really gone anywhere. I can send you everything that currently exists, and one of the major things is because the knee is like the hardest wearing part is the structural integrity, which there's the ISPO, the International Society of Prosthetics and Orthotics, like regulations, which are by necessity like really tight. And I'm happy to just share everything we've got on.
That'd be great.
Because the knee, everyone we've ever spoken to about this whole project, like the dream is there, and the below knee is so within reach. But every engineer, every prosthetist is like, oh yeah, you can have such a problem with the knee.
So I guess I have two questions for you. Just two constraints. Is it mandatory to be 3D printed?
No, okay. Anything that can be produced locally.
And then is it mandatory to be fully mechanical? So no electrical components, which makes
typically, yeah.
Yeah.
Because,
okay. Cool.
For maintenance.
Makes total sense.
But yeah, if it's not 3D printed, probably easier, to be honest. Easier to produce locally, easier to well, it depends. As long as the tools are there. It's
the structural integrity will be hard to weight bear with 3D prints, but
everyone says they would just
exercise to take a look into.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great.
John, go ahead.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you put your slide back up that shows the it included an e-NABLE hand in the top right? Not that that's the only thing I look at. But I have a number of questions.
It was the composite component slide.
That's right.
Was it this one?
So first of all, I'm sure you've considered the Jaipur knee.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what your experience has been with them or it.
The majority of prosthetists that we work with in Africa, and that this is hundreds, the overwhelming, I mean, I'm not a prosthetist, I don't have any personal expertise that could give me an informed opinion, but the general consensus from people with qualification to give an opinion is that they don't like it. They think Jaipur limbs are low quality, just cheap bits of plastic, which kind of just get dumped in places in Africa.
Sure.
or or Southern Asia, and are way below standard. And they're cheap, but they're like they're made of drain pipe basically. So
right, the knee in particular, right? I mean, and frankly, pylons are not high tech. You can use lots of things for that purpose. The knee is a tricky business, though. And however, you're telling me that their knee mechanism is not good enough either.
I think it breaks down quite regularly. The wear and tear. I mean, I've never worn one, but I've been told that the wear and tear they don't last very long, and then they get bits of like a bit of dust in it or a bit of dirt in it, and it just corrodes quite quickly. But it's a start though. It's they've got further with it than we've got. So
sure. I understand. I'm just checking. It's the obvious. It was just the first question. Okay, now going from left to right. That foot looks very interesting, and I gather that the white and orange components are 3D printed.
The orange one is the white one was cut with a lathe. That was like an early prototype. The orange one is what is being tested currently in Tanzania. It's 3D printed, yeah.
You said a lathe? Is that white one?
Oh no, maybe not a lathe. Maybe it might. I've got no idea, to be honest. It was cut. The first one was cut in. It wasn't molded. It was cut within the workshop, the Ed's workshop.
Wow, that's an lathe.
Yeah, the orange one was 3D printed. We've the clinical trial for that it started like last week.
Okay. So that was my next question: is whether it's proven to be adequate. But it's an interesting shape, and I could imagine that being cut out of a block of the right material. And 3D printing is not necessarily the right solution, but that brings me to the next picture and my next question. So there you have a bunch of Ugani sockets. You've had patients using the Ugani sockets lower limb, and they're happy with them. Yeah,
they are. They really are. The fit is great, and B, the fit's perfect. It's whereas there's with traditionally made like cast and reverse cast sockets, there's a lot more room for human error. But the fit's great, and they're light and they don't break. Yeah, they are quite popular. With just circling back slightly to the foot, it's on its second clinical trial. The first one also tested with, I think that was 40 patients, and all the patients liked it, even with a previous design. So it's looking like that trial is going to also be successful.
Cool. Okay, so that's the Ugani sockets, and those are 3D printed, but by Ugani, not you. But you're now envisioning that you would be setting up a local facility with a 3D printer that could do the fabrication of the sockets.
Yeah, Ugani are a partner of ours, and they're gonna give us their software, their designs, everything, to set up our own clinic probably in Gambia to start with. Maybe not, it might be Ghana or somewhere. But it will be the exact same product. Ugani will be there helping us set it up, training. We're like a long-term partner with them.
Okay. Then we see our old friends who I've lost touch with, the koala arm. Have you had any experience with that?
No, we focus purely on we've not. I mean, I've seen that where it was being tested in the Nsima Medical Center in Fort Portal in Uganda. I was there for the launch of it. It's great, but we only do lower limb. But we're trying to learn because obviously there's overlap in like supply chains and needs and things like that. We're trying to learn from them on just learn what we can, basically. There's no point reinventing the wheel, even if it's for a different limb.
Absolutely. Okay. I guess those are my picture-based questions. So first of all, I am delighted. I'm inspired by what you're doing. I really like it. I do think that you're taking it to a next level. I also agree that local manufacturing and reducing the cycle of dependency, as well as the important work you've done in addressing social needs, is all exactly right. We're open source, and we do have, as Morgan has demonstrated, we do have a lot of people in our network who would embrace the opportunity of working with you and supporting what you're doing. Because it's open source, I would say have at it, but I would also be delighted to find some organizational affiliations that we can use to strengthen our case together. I have to say, if you're talking about a local fabrication facility for upper limbs, I want to urge you to think about the possibility, which we have seen in Uganda, that the hand that you're picturing, which is sort of one of our robotic superhero Phoenix hands, may not have the cosmetic or functional sweet spot for Africa.
Yeah.
In our past experience, they're particularly interested in things that look hand-like and not obvious, and that is way more important than mechanical functionality. And it is quite a bit, it's entirely possible, although we have not focused on this, to produce a much simpler 0 or 1 movement part hand that looks at first glance like a regular hand, but can grip passively or with a single actuation. And done something like that. Fabrication by molds is something to consider. And by the way, you can 3D print the molds, but the point is 3D printing technology, once you're getting volume and are really working not as a one-person craftsman fabrication situation, it may make sense to really think about other ways of producing these in larger quantity, because it's the socket, unlike the leg, it's the socket which has to be customized to the arm stump. And the end effector itself, much less so. So like the foot, you should explore lots of techniques. But I would love to have the e-NABLE network, the e-NABLE designs, and the e-NABLE consultants supporting and working with you in what you're doing, because I think it's just right, and you've made real inroads.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. I think long term we're still going to be focused on lower limb, but obviously there's a huge need for arms and hands. So, you know, down the road, if we start setting up these production facilities in initially probably West Africa, because we don't want to step on Ugani's toes in East Africa too much, but we want to, you know, if the production facilities are there and they're working, local ownership, local resources, everything, then there's no reason why these different facilities can't venture into arms and hands and be working more with your network as well.
So right. Yeah. And it is absolutely right that we have probably hundreds of 3D printing aficionados who can advise on particular problems as you try to set them up. But the truth is, you don't want hundreds, you're going to want a few who've got experience. Jeremy Simon, who's not here right now, is definitely someone who should watch this video and then compare notes with you. But there are people all over the world who have 3D printing expertise, and not a few of them have had some experience with e-NABLE devices as well. We can help you find the right people.
So really quick, let me just run through a couple of things, if I may, Matt, and then I promise I'll leave a few minutes left for additional questions. Then I do want to pass things over to Morgan for a couple of things that she's currently working on. I think that we can break this down into what we can do for you and what you can do for us. I think that
collaboration.
Yeah. I can send you a quick email, kind of running through how I see these points of collaboration breaking down. High level, I think that we would really benefit from taking a look at the dashboard program that you've thrown up. Jason, who's currently on the call, he's got quite a lot of experience in building dashboards, but the problem that I think we're running into here is we have a little bit of, we have some things up in the air with our website, and we have a pipeline issue in terms of collecting data from folks.
Yeah.
So that's really where things tend to break down.
Yeah, we can probably offer some advice on that. That's been a trial and error process over a number of years, which we think we've about cracked, but it requires lots of support for the downstream partners.
Yeah, that makes sense. In terms of, well, I guess one thing that I keep coming back to is the 3D printed foot. I'm sorry, the DC3, is that the name?
Yeah, you can just call it 3D print foot, but yeah.
Okay.
DC.
We typically, as an organization, have steered away from, oh my God, sorry. Every time I want to call. I've been trying to keep her down, but anyway, every single time. But we've been trying to stay away from the lower extremity just because of the potential for liability. It's a much lower lift for people who are maybe new to 3D printing to ask them to build a hand rather than construct a weight-bearing lower limb. That said, I think that this could be a real, that seems like the best potential to marry up your opportunity gap with ours. Our opportunity gap being recipients and work for members of our community, your opportunity gap being just scalability and the ability to get these things printed on a, to the degree that could actually address the needs of your population. I guess I'm just thinking out loud. Let's schedule some time, you and me, and maybe some other stakeholders here to figure out how we can possibly marry that up, because I don't want to run afoul of the FDA here in the States in terms of what we're allowed to do.
Advise you on that. If we're printing here and shipping there, FDA is not a challenge. Shipping is a challenge. On the other hand, those devices would probably pack pretty densely, so it might be cost effective, unlike hands, to just print a bunch, aggregate them, and then ship them. The FDA, I don't think will have anything to say about us printing plastic and shipping it elsewhere.
If they have. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, if you can get them to Texas, then we can ship them.
Awesome.
And we're a 501c as well in the US, so
okay,
we can get them to Texas.
Yeah, and then I think that there's a lot, we have lots to talk about after this call. But does anyone else have some final questions for Matt before we move things over to Morgan? Okay. Matt, thank you very much. I am thrilled that you're doing what you're doing, and I'm looking forward to the coming months to see how we can find ways to work together. This should be good.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to when this trial is over, the clinical trial. Then we can just hit go on printing 1 billion feet,
Yeah, sounds good. All right, sir. Well, you're welcome to stay on for the rest of the last 10 minutes here, or you can hop back to your afternoon. Okay. Well, great. Well, let me knock things over to Morgan. Morgan is, she's already spoken to this call, but she is based in I'm sorry, is it the Bay Area, Morgan?
LA.
Where you're located? LA, I'm sorry.
No worries.
And she's I believe, the founder of Tempo at Temple University, or one of the founders of our e-NABLE chapter there. She has a lot of ties with that organization still, and is really interested in spearheading some of these major initiatives that have been kind of stalled in the past couple of years. So Morgan, would you like to talk to maybe your big three?
Yeah. So as Adam said, I am the founder of Tempo Prosthetics and Orthotics at Temple University. So what they did was, when I was there, we just had a bunch of people around the tri-state area saying, hey, we need some help. And we figured out, put our bioengineer, mechanical engineer, anyone really. We had art students, everyone. put our heads together and try to figure out how to help that person. Or in one case, we helped a dog. So kind of just getting college kids hands-on experience. And that was the whole basis of the club. And so I was listening to the news about a month or two ago, and a staggering fact hit me. It was there are more amputees in Ukraine than World War One. And that is the highest in any war. So I said, okay, well, I can actually help with this. And I've heard of e-NABLE when I was at Tempo. We started the process of becoming a chapter, and I think maybe COVID happened. I don't know, something had happened. And so I reached out to Jeremy. I said, hey, here's a problem. I'd like to help. And then Jeremy sent me over to Adam, and I've been harassing Adam ever since. And so I have some people on the ground in Ukraine. This is the first thing that kind of brought me to e-NABLE, and they have some manufacturing people I got to reach out to, try to see if they will do all the 3D printing for us, and the manufacturing and the putting everything together. I got Tempo all ready to go. A lot of the students now, they're unable to do projects because they don't have legal backing. So before, when I was there, I would just kind of go and hope no one said anything. And apparently they've cracked down on that. So we're trying to get them to become an e-NABLE chapter, so we can have them work on all the printing and the fitting and all that stuff. And that will allow them to also work on a lot of the e-NABLE projects. That being said, I'm also trying to rope in USC in California. They have a makerspace and engineering club, and I think they would be interested as well. So the point of them and Tempo would be to get them to help with the website, update that. They would be able to help with any new products that any of our partners would like. So the knee, they have access to SolidWorks, Creo, all of the development stuff. They have testing machines. I was talking to Yugani this morning, and one of the ideas was to have Tempo do all the tests. They print everything in polypropylene and give them the test, do the stress test, get all that data. So those are kind of the big things I'm trying to implement with Tempo. So I guess big three would be Ukraine, any ongoing e-NABLE projects, so website, the matching forum, stuff like that. And then anything the partners need help with, I guess.
No, it's incredibly exciting. Morgan and I have had a couple of conversations in the past month, and I think the only thing that I worry about, Morgan, is just scaling in your bandwidth. I think that we've got a lot of people who want to assist with these kinds of projects, but I haven't been successful in finding those pockets of groups who have that interest. I think if, with your help, and if you want to identify spheres where you have more direct know-how, like in, building website tools, and in some of these more technical areas, like actually 3D printing and designing things. I think that there are innumerable student groups and chapters that you could feel free to deputize to allow you to kind of expand the scope of what you can do.
That's, I think that would be ideal if I could get free reign of not free reign, but like get access to those student chapters.
Yeah. I mean, that's what the community is here for, and it has not been leveraged to its potential, I would say. So getting you in a position to kind of activate people, I think is the best way to go about it.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah. I know that John knows quite a lot more about the work that we've done in Ukraine in the past year than I do. I think the two of you should connect maybe after the call, because I know he knows people in the region, and he has contacts and through lines that would be very beneficial.
We have a collaboration with Ukraine going on already. It'd be good to catch up on it. Also, Morgan, I'd like to know more about your superhero backstory. You've got a lot of relevant experience here, and that will help us figure out how you can have the most satisfying contribution.
Amazing. Yeah, it's a long backstory.
Let's follow up. I'd love to chat.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Awesome. I am going to really quickly run through a few of the posts from the hub. I don't mean to cut you short, Morgan, but if I don't do at least a couple, we're going to have 20 to go through when we next meet. Thank you everyone for your time today. Let me just highlight some of these real fast. Okie doke. Away Zoom tab. I got it.
John, I just sent you my email. Send me any time that works and we can hop on a call.
Well, I did a silly thing. 1 second, y'all. Got seconds to play with, and I do this kind of nonsense.
Something's burning on my stuff.
You're good. Okay. Take 2. Okay. So number 1, we've got Natasha Karenda. They're at Brandeis University, which I want to say, is that where Eric Bubar is, John? Someone's at Brandeis. They're looking to design.
No, that's where Ian Roy is.
Ian, that's the one. Manufacture a modified upper limb prosthesis for a child. It looks like we've got another member who says they also need a prosthetic hand. Interesting. I will follow up with both Natasha and Corinna because it doesn't look like anyone from the community jumped in on that one. We've got Christiana P. e-NABLE Toronto is having the assembly event soon. They need a place to send hands. Once again, this is the perennial issue that we have with e-NABLE. We've got more cooks than we have people to eat the food. Yeah, that was messy. Anyway, Patrick Geary, longtime listener, couple of time caller. He was on the last town hall meeting. He and I have been trying to connect for the past couple of weeks, and we keep having last minute reschedules and cancellations, but I'll be following up with him. Ethan Spencer, I did not notice this one. Looks like Sarah replied really quickly. They're doing research in amputees. They have a survey. Oh, I think maybe this is a repeat post. A survey about, yes, it is, with amputees with phantom limb pain. I'll reach out to Ethan directly after today's call. Masvi was announcing that we're doing a migration of the hub and website. Its hosting platform is shifting. That will take place, just as a heads up for anyone listening to this, the last weekend of the month, November 24th to 25th, but that timeline might shift. The hub might be down during that time. So if you're unable to access things, please just be aware that that is scheduled maintenance. John, thank you very much for whipping the votes that we needed. It looks like the proposal passed today with the requisite votes. Thank you very much for posting that, John, and for making sure that we at least had eyes on from the community, and we can connect after the call if we need to discuss anything else there. Thierry, this is another one that I personally missed. Recipient with missing thumb and index finger. Thumb only devices, yes. I don't know if I've seen thumb only devices. I know that we have any other digit but the thumb in the form of the nick finger.
I can't say that I'm familiar with a thumb only device either.
Looks like Sandra.
There is one on Thingiverse. I don't know. I've seen it, and I've made it.
Might be this one.
I don't remember the name.
So this is a thumb prosthesis that Sandra herself made. That might be the one. But yeah, let's follow up with Thierry to see if he needs any additional assistance there. And finally, Gustavo has 2 open cases. They're waiting on a designer. Good night. We've got all these people who want to help, and then this is a problem with the matching platform, not a problem with people. I'm glad that he posted on the hub. And it looks like we've got David who jumped in, as well as Connie. Interesting. Okay, I'll follow up and make sure that we get someone on here, because this is a rare instance of actually having a person identified. So let's make sure we get this done. Well, we're at time. Thank you all so much. Apologies for the rushed run sprint through this post at the end there. But we will meet again. I believe December 1st will be the first meeting of December, which will be our next meeting. And then we will have one more meeting in December on the 15th, and then no more meetings for the remainder of December or remainder of the year until our January 5th town hall. Thank you again. Go ahead, John.
Let me say, in the first week of December, I'm going to be in Portugal and Spain, I believe. Portugal for sure. And I'll participate in the town hall meeting probably. But if I'm giving a talk in Lisbon on the 28th about e-NABLE.
Great. Okay. Well, we'll expect some pictures.
Okay. Then.
Wonderful. Thanks, John. Thanks all. Have a good day.
Go on.